offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 3388 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 3388. Enjoy.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasevich. A group of workers at a St. Peter's Amazon warehouse delivered a petition to management with a series of demands yesterday morning. Some of their demands included raising associates' pay by at least $10 per hour, removing a 36-month cap on raises, and adding an additional $1 per hour for each job employees are cross-trained on. The Regional Convention and Sports Complex Authority voted unanimously yesterday to urge the city and county to put the funds from the Rams settlement in accounts that pay more while discussions on what to spend the money on continue. The $514.2 million was put into an account that currently yields only 1.44% interest. Officials with the St. Louis County Department of Public Health are starting to administer a new COVID-19 vaccine booster shot that targets Omicron variants of the virus. The shots are specifically designed to fight the Omicron BA4 and BA5 variants, the most transmissible versions of COVID-19 and the most common in St. Louis County. And in sports, St. Louis City SC announced last night that this weekend's planned MLS Next Pro match at the new stadium has been moved to SIUE due to a power issue. Sunday's game was set to double as a stadium preview for season ticket holders. And the Cardinals beat the Brewers 4-1 at Busch last night. Next up, the Cardinals welcome the Reds to Busch for a 5-game series. Tonight's game starts at 6:45 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to newstalkstl.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm News 4 meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your first alert forecast. Sunny skies again today, a touch warmer with a high of 86 degrees. Clear skies tonight will drop to 65, and then for Friday, mostly sunny, even hotter with a high of 88. That's now 7 degrees above average for this time of year. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
Like any good conservative, we have our principles and our values.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world,
I don't even know how conservatives can even take their head out of the ground long enough to complain about anything.
They're trying to call us conservatives Nazis.
I think they ought to be ashamed.
it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
All we want is freedom and liberties and less government. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I'm an American.
Welcome home.
Because everyone gets a voice.
This is News Talk STL.
News and information.
Welcome home. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Kenny Zhu, president of Color Us United.
Race became a profitable industry. That's what happened. Racial victimhood. We all believe in civil rights, but then there are people who actually profit off of racial victimhood in this country. Diversity, equity, and inclusion right now, the new hot thing in companies, is a 10 billion plus industry.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL. This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
We know what's going on.
When it's important to you,
Stay informed.
Call me extreme if I want stable prices, affordable energy.
The FBI way overstepped their authority.
We've got a leader,
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
who is trying to divide the nation at this point in time.
They call us the fascists and the Nazis, and it's like, yo, look at yourself.
They're just trying to provoke a reaction out of us.
Tony Colombo,
Libertarianism is all about individual liberty.
Katie Fitzpatrick.
Oh,
on News Talk STL. I am Tony Colombo. She is Katie Fitzpatrick. See, that's why it's called Colombo and Katie.
Mm-hmm.
And
Very
we
clever.
are here with you on a beautiful Thursday afternoon. How are
It
you?
is. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous outside. I'm living La Vida Loca.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're doing.
If you're watching on the cameras on the brand new Colombo and Katie YouTube channel or on the News Talk STL Facebook page or Rumble page, you'll also see producer Stell in the studio with us. So yeah, you're on the camera there, Stell. Wave to the people. Yay!
Hey! Oh, there we go.
People. Yay! So we are all here with you today for a great show, packed show, lots to talk about, lots going on, and we've got the people to fill you in on all of it. A little less than an hour from now, just after 3 o'clock, we will talk to State Representative Nick Schroer, soon to be State Senator Nick Schroer. We will talk to him. Well, I guess I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but you know how they do it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
when
I
you
do.
introduce somebody when they're running for an office, they always say like, "Ladies and gentlemen, the next president of
This is what we're doing for Nick.
The next senator from the state of Missouri.
Hyping him up.
Nick Schroer will be joining us. We talked yesterday to Rodney Boyd. Great conversation, as always, with Rodney Boyd.
Mhm.
He's one of those can't miss guests.
He is. He's
Like
phenomenal.
Christian Day Talk, I would put on that list too. Rodney Boyd, you guys in the like with Tim and Chris, like Jim Talent, you know,
Mhm.
like there's some just like can't miss conversations. And I feel like Rodney Boyd is one of those guys. He's always so full of information, behind the scenes
Mhm.
sort of insight, you know. And when we had him on yesterday, he was talking a little bit. He was actually leaving the Capitol in Jeff City. And he was talking a little bit about the special session that has just started. So he said in that interview yesterday that there hadn't really been any big news or fireworks yet, but there was some stuff coming and some, you know, some things on the docket.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to expand that conversation a little bit later on today with Nick Schroer, who's obviously a part of that legislative body there in Jeff City. That's part of this special session. And I know that they're working on several things. Some things could be possibly tax related, could be affecting, hopefully in a very positive way, your taxes in the state of Missouri. So we will talk to Representative Schroer about all of that. And he's got another, he's got a great story to tell too.
He does. Mhm.
Besides the news, he's got a great story to tell. He's always ruffling feathers. He's always, you know, his motto, the name of his show, Stand and Fight. That is his mantra.
Yeah,
and
MO.
he doesn't back down,
Mhm.
and that gets him attacked very many times. And but if there's one guy that can handle it, it's certainly Representative Schroer. So we'll talk about all that with him a little after 3 o'clock. Also, coming up this hour in about 35 minutes or so from now, we'll talk to our friend Derek from All Solutions Pest Control. This is a great time to get a pest control company out at your home. If you don't have a pest control service, you need to call All Solutions ASAP, because as we go into the fall season, as the temperatures drop, we talked to Blake from All Solutions recently on the show, and he made this point. And we'll talk more about it with Derek in a little bit. But as the temperatures change and as temperatures drop, a lot of the pests, a lot of the creepy, crawly things that you don't want in your house, they get cold just like you get cold. And just like you, they want to come inside.
I hate thinking about
And we
that.
don't want them
It's
inside.
gross.
So, you know, this is for a lot of people that like I love this time of year for many reasons, but one of them being that when you go outside at night or whatever, there's less bugs because the temperatures drop and, you know, there's just not as many mosquitoes or bugs or whatever there is. That doesn't mean they're gone. And that doesn't mean that this is like, oh, well, this time of year, there's no bugs outside. So why do I need a pest control company? No, this is the time that they're trying to get in the house. And you don't want that to happen. So looking forward to that conversation with Derek from All Solutions a little bit later on. And in a few minutes, in the next segment from now, man, I'm telling you, packed show today. Our good friend Crane Durham from Nothing But Truth. It is always a wild ride.
Oh, yeah.
When you talk to Crane Durham. So across the board with Crane, I want to talk to him about national stuff, local stuff, everything. There's so much happening in the news, and we'll get to as much of it as we can with Crane. So Great show today. Don't go anywhere. Don't forget, you never have to miss anything that happens on Colombo and Katie. You can subscribe to our podcast. We put the show out as a podcast shortly after we get off the air every single day on all the big podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google, all those places. Our website also, newstalkstl.com. So just subscribe to our podcast so you never miss anything that happens here. And same thing for our YouTube channel. News Talk STL as a radio station may not be allowed on YouTube, but Colombo and Katie as a show sure as hell is. So we have a YouTube channel for the show. So you can subscribe to us there as well. So you can watch everything that happens in the studio on the live stream every day. You can watch the show live on YouTube. And of course, another great way to, just subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can go back and listen to and watch everyday's show so you don't miss anything. And that goes for all the shows here at News Talk STL. With the podcasts and the YouTube channels, subscribe to your favorite shows on YouTube and your favorite podcast platform. All right, let's get into some headlines before we talk to Crane Durham. Here's one that has been developing, and we've not talked about because there's always other like headlines of the day that keep, like pushing it down a little bit. But I think this is a big one. You guys may have talked about this in the afternoon. Have you guys talked about Lindsey Graham's abortion bill?
We have not.
Okay, so Senator Lindsey Graham has introduced a 15-week abortion ban nationwide. And he, according to him, he says this bill would help a lot of GOP. It's very politically timed. That this could help with midterm elections and things like that. But listen to the bill and tell me what you think. Senator Lindsey Graham announced a bill to ban abortion after 15 weeks as debate rages over the issue after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Titled the Protecting, what is this name of this bill?
Oh, Lord.
Protecting Pain-Capable Unborn Children from Late-Term Abortions Act.
Whoa.
That's the name of the bill.
If you want it to be catchy,
Yeah, no kidding.
it's not going to hold on.
Have a Democrat name that bill, please,
Holy
because
cow.
they're very good at labels and catchy little things. The Protecting Pain-Capable Unborn Children from Late-Term Abortions Act. The legislation,
Why did it need to be that?
Who knows? The legislation comes as Democrats hammer the GOP on the campaign trail over state laws restricting abortions. Graham told reporters this week that his bill is similar to laws in other developed countries and could actually help Republicans running in the midterms. He said, quote, I see this as a possible alternative to the very radical position by Democrat senators. I can assure that a vast majority of Americans do not support abortion on demand up to delivery, which I would agree with. Graham added, this bill puts us in line with the rest of the world. So when you're on the campaign trail, you have a chance to talk about what you're for. Graham's bill includes several exceptions, including for rape, incest, and the mother's health. So the 15-week ban, the procedure can be done after 15 weeks for those exceptions. It also explicitly bans the prosecution of women seeking abortions, which is something that Democrats always have been hammering on. They've kind of been making this straw man fake argument. Like we've seen the president. We've seen the president saying, Republicans want to lock up doctors and women that are just for asking about abortions, which is not true.
Mm-hmm.
But at least this is like it's in writing
that
you cannot prosecute a woman for seeking an abortion. It's just like the whole like state lines thing. Remember when the president was like, and I will be damned if a woman gets stopped crossing state lines to have a procedure because they're like, nobody ever said you couldn't drive. Like, if it's banned in Missouri, but it's okay in Illinois, nobody's ever, I don't know where this idea of people are arresting women as they drive across the border, but they've made that up. And the president made that up.
Didn't he make a law? Didn't he make a law that says you specifically?
I think he talked about making an executive order. I don't know if he did it or not, but you're exactly right. He said that he was going to take action.
Yeah.
But nobody's been threatening that. Nobody has said if you live in a state that bans abortions, if you drive to another state to have that procedure, that you're going to be arrested as you're driving across state lines. It's just made up.
Certainly not Missouri. That has not been talked about.
So, but at least this is in there. So I think that's really important. So it's a 15-week, it's a ban after 15 weeks of pregnancy, with exceptions including rape, incest, mother's life in danger, and it explicitly bans prosecution of women seeking abortions. A criminal penalty of up to 5 years in prison applies to doctors who would perform late-term abortions if this was the law, which I'm okay with that. Because I am pro-choice, as you guys know, which puts me on the outside looking in on this radio station. But this is exactly the kind of pro-choice that I am. Early 15-week. I liked the Missouri bill before Roe v. Wade was overturned. The heartbeat bill, which here in Missouri, I think it was 20 weeks. It was one of them, 15 or 20 weeks, and then banned after that. Certainly very against late-term abortions. Understand all for exceptions for women's health, and rape and incest, which is a fraction of a percentage, but it's still important to put it in there. That's not a big reason that people have abortions. People act like the rape and incest thing is a big deal.
That's like the main.
It's like 1% or even less. It's some tiny little number. But anyway, but it still should be in there. So this is exactly the kind of pro-choice that I am. Very strict, rules regarding how it should be done.
I love, and I'm pro-life, so I'm for saving as many babies as possible that could possibly be saved. But my only issue with this is that you said he is trying to make this federal, which would mean
This is a national bill, yeah.
So that is my issue.
Me
is
too.
That
Me too.
If conservatives, when this happened, when Roe versus Wade was overturned, conservatives rallied hard on the states being able to make sure that the states do what's appropriate for their state. Now, again, I am all for saving the babies. I am very jazzed on saving the babies. That's great. But if that was your rally cry for when Roe versus Wade was overturned, and then you look at this and you say, well, on a federal, we should do this. We absolutely should without question. Well, then you just debunked your entire
You're exactly
case.
right. You're so right. And Democrats have called him out on that. I think that Lindsey Graham's answer to that has been, look, you're trying to pass, because the Democrats are trying to pass pretty much they're trying to make it unrestricted
late-term abortion, third term,
up to delivery, like be the federal law
again.
So I think Lindsey Graham's argument to that would be, yeah, we do want states' rights, but as long as you're going to be fighting for this national, why don't we do this instead of that? And so
which is the other thing
I still disagree with, but I think that's the argument.
It's the reaction because of the action. This is Democrats are so going back to the drumbeat that I can't stop saying. They have to take it to the next level. If they did not take it to the third term abortion, the anything goes abortion, Lindsey Graham probably would think of a bill like this, or Ted Cruz, some senator would think of a bill like this, but they would not be pushing so hard to have it become law. But it's the action of the Democrats causes the reaction from the Republicans.
Everything is always all or nothing.
Yes.
For the Democrats.
For them. Yeah, for the Democrats
it's
it is.
Always all or nothing.
And that's why they can't win.
I've said this before, and I usually get a little bit of flack anytime I bring this up, but that's why the Tea Party failed on the other side, in my opinion.
Sure.
When the Republican side, when the conservative side, embraced the Tea Party, and they had that wave of victories in Congress and other places, and it was like, oh wow, this movement, and it's working, just like this ultra left. It worked at first, like 2020,
it's popular.
2018, those elections, those super progressive Democrats like AOC and others were winning elections, surprisingly, but you lose that moment when everybody starts to realize, wait a minute, it's all or nothing with these people. Like, I've got to agree with 10 out of 10 positions. If I agree with 9 of the 10 things that you say, then you kick me out of the club. It's unsustainable. That's why the Tea Party failed, in my opinion. And that's why this is failing, because it's so, to your point, they always take it to such an extreme level, and they refuse to negotiate anyway. They refuse to give anything.
Now more than ever.
So that's the bill.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the reaction from Democrats has been exactly exactly what we're talking about. He has been attacked over his proposal. And some Democrats and some people have gone as far as calling this plan radical. A plan that would allow abortions for up to 15 weeks.
It is not radical.
You may not agree with it, but radical?
In fact, I think a lot of people from the pro-life community will be getting on Senator Graham for how flexible that time is.
I agree. Yeah. Radical is late-term abortions. That's disgusting.
Oh, these people.
And so fighting for that is radical and horrible. Quote, I think the idea of government being in the doctor's office telling a woman what decision she needs to make is very radical. I think it's un-American, said Representative Tim Ryan from Ohio. It violates freedom and personal liberty. Look, I don't like national bills either, but that's not an accurate.
Everything is so drama. It's such a drama.
Tim Ryan went on to say that the bill is, quote, the largest governmental overreach in the private lives of American citizens in the history of our lifetime. The unbelievable gumption of any Democrat to try to use the argument of government overreach against anyone when they want to control every aspect of your life, when they want the federal government to be in charge of every aspect of your life is just incredible to me. Now, to your point, he went on to say this is a complete flip-flop from the idea that they wanted this to go to the states. I think most Americans don't want the government up in their business, especially on a very tragic and complicated matters like this. So they're right. They have Republicans on that, and I agree with them. I don't like the idea of a federal ban. I don't like the idea of a federal law like this, no matter what side it's on. Even if I agree with it, it should, in my opinion, be up to states' rights and the people of every area to decide what the laws and what the rules are wherever you live. Other Democrats labeled Graham's proposal as a ban, even though it would permit abortions up to 15 weeks, on par with what many countries in Europe permit. While introducing his bill on Tuesday, Graham noted that countries such as Norway and Germany have even more restrictive limits. Quote, I think if people came about reproductive freedom, they've got to support a Democrat because Lindsey Graham and his friends are going to ban abortion nationwide, and that's not what the American people want, said Representative Sean Patrick Maloney, Democrat out of New York. It's not a ban.
It's not a ban.
They're calling it a ban. It's not a ban. You might not like it. It might not be enough for you, but it's not a ban. And it just goes to show you how comfortable they are lying to Americans to go on television or to give a statement or talk to reporters and say that Lindsey Graham's bill is a ban. It's not.
This has been the most flexible bill I've heard proposed.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been the most compromised bill
I
have heard.
I agree with the argument made by Tim Ryan about, hey, I thought this was all about states' rights. Why are you trying to pass a federal bill? I agree with him there, but I am surprised that Democrats are just flatly rejecting this, calling it a ban. I would have guessed that they would have tried to latch onto this and push that time. I would have guessed the Democrats would have said, make it 30 weeks, make it 20. Like, I would have guessed that they would have tried to
take it and move the goalpost.
Move the goalpost, not just flat out reject it.
I don't think they want to work with the Republicans. I don't think they want to work with them.
Here's a Republican saying that they were willing to pass a federal law that would allow abortions.
I don't think they're willing to work with a Republican that makes that kind of bill.
Yeah, very interesting. I think the story is very and enjoying your deck or your back porch and grilling and things like that, this time of year, it seems like the bugs are going away. It's like, oh, well, there's not as many bugs out here, and this is a great time to be outside. So maybe I don't need a pest service right now at my house. That is exactly the wrong thing to think, because as we go into this, as we transition from the warmer weather to the cooler weather, a lot of those pests, just like you, are getting cold, and they want to go inside to get warm, and they want to go inside your home, and that is somewhere that you don't want them. It's certainly not where I want them. So if you are currently experiencing a pest issue, or more importantly, you just want to prevent that from happening, All Solutions Pest Control is the pest control service for you. They are the service that we use at our house, and we have been blown away, super impressed by the results that we have received working with All Solutions. And having a pest control service at our house is something that's been very important to Christine and I for years. And we are so grateful that we met Derek and the team at All Solutions, because they have been, they've given us the best service that we have ever had when it comes to protecting our home. And they can do the same for you as well. So keep it right here, because we'll talk to Derek in a few minutes. And if you want to learn more about All Solutions Pest Control, just visit allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
There's a guy named Chris Bank. They're threatening to take him to court by City Hall because he has too many sunflowers in his yard. The principle of the matter is if you want to plant flowers, plant flowers. It's your house.
Yeah. I would be so upset about this at like 2:00 in the morning. I would be planting sunflowers in their yard. Yeah. So that all of a sudden, they get their own crop of stuff. I'd be like, I don't know what happened.
Weekday mornings, 5:30 till 9 on News Talk STL.
Paul Cook for our free water store in Chesterfield. Dude, our water is dead. Find out what living water is. It could be one of the best things you ever do for your health and for your family too. It is for me. This water has helped millions of people all over the world supercharge their cells. Experience it for free over and over again. Walk in there at the corner of Woods Mill and Olive, our free water store. Discover true health today.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Thursday, and at 3:45, we'll have Dr. Randy Tobler, and at 4:25, we'll have Jim Carafano from the Heritage Foundation.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
News Talk STL. As we mentioned in that last segment, joining us now on the phone, back on the show with us from nothingbutTruth.com. Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers got a hug.
Brothers hug.
Crane Durham, buddy, what's going on?
Not much. I am back running in Forest Park the way I used to run. And I could actually run around the whole park at one time. And listening to Saturday in the Park, how awesome is that? And how awesome is St. Louis and the way of having that?
And how awesome is hearing Crane Durham back on the radio waves in St. Louis. Crane, a regular contributor to the Colombo and Katie show and part of the team here at News Talk STL, which we absolutely love. So I don't know if you were listening at the end of that last segment. Yes. There's lots of things that I want to talk to you about.
Tim Ryan, right?
Well, Tim Ryan,
he made that comment. Yeah,
Tim Ryan, Tim Ryan and the abortion comment. But also the Josh Hawley statement today that kind of caught me off guard. I mean, nobody expected this to happen. And it makes you wonder, what does Josh Hawley know? What kind of conversations has he been in that he's comfortable enough to say this in public to reporters? So Senator Josh Hawley said today or this week that he thinks that Donald Trump will be the Republican nominee in 2024. And even more interestingly, he said that he thinks that he will not have any competition. Josh Hawley was at the National Conservatism Conference this week in Florida, and he was asked whether Republicans should rally behind the former president if he decides to seek a return to the White House, or whether he should face off in a primary like he did in 2016. Josh Hawley said, well, that will be up to the voters, but went on to say, I have to tell you, I think he'll be the nominee. I think he will run. I'd be shocked if he didn't run. And I think he'll be the nominee, and I don't think there'll be much of a primary contest at all. I could be wrong about that, and I think this is a decision for GOP voters to make, but I'd just be shocked at this point if he wasn't the nominee. He was then asked if he would back Trump, and he said, quote, oh, I imagine so. I can't imagine I wouldn't. So from all of that, what stands out to me is the line, I don't think it'll be much of a contest. And I just find it hard to believe that a Republican United States senator would say something like that, especially somebody like Josh Hawley, who's very good at with what he says, what he reveals and what he says to reporters and what he says publicly. So for him to say that he thinks that Trump will be the nominee, that he thinks he will run, he thinks he will be the nominee, and he doesn't think there'll be even much of a contest, makes me think that he may be in some conversations that aren't public knowledge, because I think a lot of us are thinking that there's a really good chance that it's a Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump. And if that was the case, then that would be a hell of a competition, not a cakewalk for President Trump. So I don't know, maybe I'm looking too much into, a one sentence quote, but I find that statement to be incredibly interesting. How do you read it?
Well, Tony, as you said and encapsulated, Josh Hawley is a disciplined communicator. He stays on point. And when he says something, he wants to say it in that particular venue and for a particular audience. So for him to make that statement, it is a big statement. I think you're absolutely right with your analysis. Now, the person he's making it about is not a disciplined communicator. Though I love a lot of what he did, he's not a disciplined communicator. And when we talk about the 2024 field, I got 2016 so wrong, thinking that Ted Cruz would inherit Donald Trump's gains. And we saw how that went.
Yeah.
Anybody who goes against Donald Trump, he ruins.
Yes.
And unfortunately, and this is something that possibly could come out in the debates, most people who have stuck by him get burned by him. Most especially Mike Pence.
I know.
For heaven's sake.
I know. One of the biggest stains on Trump's record, in my opinion, is it's indefensible what he did to Mike Pence, in my opinion. But go ahead. I think it's a great point. I think it's a great point.
Absolutely agree. And it is frustrating because there is this idea that if you speak out against Trump, you're going to get an entire audience against you. When you're merely saying, hey, I don't like this part, I do like this, I'm thankful for that, cried tears when he beat Hillary Clinton. I mean, thank you, Jesus. But the fact is, when we look at Donald Trump as a candidate, he's not the best candidate, in my opinion, to take on the Democratic nominee, be it Biden or someone else. It is because people were tired of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah, that's why Joe Biden won. Joe Biden won. Nobody voted for Joe Biden. Nobody was supporting Joe Biden. They were against Donald Trump. That's why Joe Biden won that election. Now, I still believe whoever it is that is the Republican nominee has got the tremendous advantage, because the country is fed up with the Democrats, certainly fed up with Joe Biden. And believe it or not, I still think to this day that Joe Biden is as terrible as he is still their best candidate, unbelievably, because the other candidates are everybody else is even worse, which is unbelievable. But to your point, let's play this out a little bit.
Yeah.
If I couldn't agree with you more, Crane, and I have thought to myself, as much as I would rather see personally, I would rather see Ron DeSantis sort of take over, or or maybe there's somebody that I'm not thinking of. Huge fan of Senator Tim Scott and Nikki Haley,
Tom
and
Cotton.
there's other people in the Republican Party that I think would be great in that position. But Ron DeSantis seems to be the one most ready to take that step. But I, like you, I think, would not like to see him and Trump go at it, because in a primary election, because as you said, Donald Trump is incapable of running a campaign without name calling and labeling like that, like the little Marco, and like what you said, what he did to Ted Cruz. And I don't think it's worth it to Ron DeSantis to even risk whatever damage could, or long lasting, stigma could be endured in a competition with Donald Trump. So do you believe that that his decision is completely up to whatever decision Donald Trump makes? Do you foresee Ron DeSantis, if he's ready and he wants to run, he's going to do it no matter what? Or do you think he wouldn't take on Trump because it's not worth it and he can keep his powder dry and run again in the future?
DeSantis, to me, has proven to fight the culture wars without the nonsense. You're getting that fight that people are looking for in the culture wars, be it when they lie about a particular piece of legislation about what's going on in schools, or maybe an illegal immigration policy and sending the illegal aliens to Martha's Vineyard. So he's adept at policy, and he's adept at communicating. He's 44, I believe. I think when you get to the place where you're asking yourself, do I run now, or do I wait 4 years, or maybe, 4 years, it would be Biden's second term. But bottom line, you sit there and you say, if you have an opportunity, you should take it. Look at Barack Obama. I mean, certainly not ready to be president of the United States if we apply the standard of experience, et cetera. But the bottom line is DeSantis will make that decision. Trump will be a factor. I don't believe he will be the decider, because Trump has shown himself. I mean, we've gotten the 4 years plus of Donald Trump making comments, and at times irresponsible comments.
No doubt.
And being on personal attacks. And a lot of times, as you said, if you look down ballot of the 2020 election, you will see the fact that Republicans won, but they didn't win the presidency. They didn't get the vote of the president. So you had some people not voting for President Trump, yet voting for the Republican. And I think you'll see that more and more. I don't know what the antidote is to Donald Trump's poisonous diseases attacks. I don't. But I do know that we have a lot better view of what was President Trump, and in his actions, for the most part, wow, yay. But we also have seen the rest of the story. And I think that there is a way to split those two things up and to speak to what the policy is as opposed to what the personality is.
Yeah, and the only way to do that, that will never be Donald Trump. You will never get the good of Donald Trump without the bad, because the good is undeniable. The policies, the successes, the direction of the country, what he did at the border, what he did for the economy. I mean, just great things that he did. But he cannot, and it will never be separated. If you're gonna go with that, you're gonna get John McCain's a loser. You're gonna get, calling Mike Pence a traitor. There's no separating the two. So it's,
how many times did people say, and I asked this of the audience, how many times in the 4 years President Trump was president, as well as his candidacy, where they said, just be quiet. Just don't do this. Don't make these unforced errors.
Yes.
He's never done that.
Never. And that's the way, and that's it. And for many, that's the appeal of Donald Trump, is that he does speak, but you'd just like to see him not make so many
a little bit more
errors.
control.
Exactly. So Crane, I got to wrap up this point. What does your gut tell you? Do you agree with what Senator Hawley said, that right now you would believe that Donald Trump will be the GOP nominee and there won't even be much of a competition? Or do you feel like that is far from a decided thing at this point?
The behavior of the members of Congress and the GOP tell me President Trump still has a great hold over the party. However, when he's been made the issue of the election, we've seen what happens to polls. I think people factor that in. I think we're sitting there with 460 or 420, whatever data point you want to use, with spending more, an inflation tax from this government. And we're more concerned with these issues because we have to deal with them day in and day out. The person that communicates to those issues will be the Republican nominee. Number one issue, security. I've said it from day one, national security and personal security. McDonald's CEO, Chicago, making the comments, people are scared to come to work, not because they wanted to stay in their pajamas all day, but because they're scared of being shot. This is a serious issue, and people are waking up to it, unfortunately, and many, unfortunately, are getting mugged by reality. I don't want anybody to have that feeling or experience that, but all of a sudden they wake up and say, oh, wow, this is a bad idea.
Yeah, the stats don't lie, Crane, to your point. The stats don't lie. There's a crime issue on the rise across the country, and the direction, the path that we've been put on is one that is only going to make it worse, not better. There's nothing in the plans that this White House or this Democratic Party has that is going to address that issue. It's only going to get worse. We are almost out of time, Crane. This is not fair because I need you to answer this question in about 60 seconds. And I understand that that's not enough time, but we'll dive back into this next time we have you on. But I wanted to quickly, while we did have you, just get your quick thoughts on the Lindsey Graham abortion bill. As a proud conservative and Republican soldier, the idea of a Republican senator pushing a federal law that would allow abortions up to 15 weeks of pregnancy, is that something that you react to positively or negatively? Give me the Cliff Notes answer.
I understand the strategy behind it. And Tim Ryan, hey, if you like your doctor, you get to keep your doctor, federal government and healthcare, all that stuff.
Well
right?
said, yes.
So, yeah, and I love the discussion you all had. As someone who is a conservative and someone who is pro-life, I can't get away from the fact, the truth is that life is a life is a life. So how I go about that is really important. And we talked about it being taken from the American people when it went to Roe v. Wade. It was taken out of the hands of the people. So I'm for legislation, mainly the states coming together in the way of their particular state and enough states getting together with a constitutional amendment. I think this was a reaction to the federal legislation, to the Democrats. And also he's proposed this, I believe, before in some capacity. There's been other pro-life bills federally that people have signed on to over the years with Republicans, and it's been stricter. So here's the thing. Pro-lifers, as you're going out, have the discussion. The more you have the discussion, the more you get around. You say, well, it's 15 weeks. Well, why not 9 weeks? Why not 20 weeks? Why? In that zone, they're recognizing what it is. It's a life. And that's the main thing. And you're exactly right about rape and incest. It's 1%, and it's horrific and tragic. But the bottom line is a life is a life is a life.
It's not the issue that the Democrats try to make it be whenever this is being debated. Crane Durham, great stuff as always. You can hear Crane as a regular on the show here, and you can always follow Crane at nothingbutTruth.com. My friend, have a great rest of your afternoon, and we'll talk to you again very soon.
I love you, buddy.
Back
Great
at you.
show.
Back
Thank
at
you.
you. That is the great Crane Durham. Again, nothingbutTruth.com to always see what Crane is following and covering, and you can get lots of great information on all of the important news at nothingbutTruth.com, and you can hear Crane regularly here on Colombo and Katie.
Wood sidings. Rhino Shield eliminates wasting time and money painting year after year. Our ceramic coating deflects 90% of the sun's UV rays and 100% of the moisture. Our clients want affordable protection with the elimination of maintenance. Rhino Shield protects your biggest investment while maintaining your architectural features and gives you the curb appeal you deserve. Make your home great again by working with the Rhino Shield experts. A+ rated with the BBB. Call 877-25 Rhino, 877-25 Rhino, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
For $1 a day, if any covered appliance breaks in your home, we guarantee to fix or replace it. All makes and models, washers, dryers, refrigerators, air conditioners, and more. Guaranteed to be fixed or replaced for $1 a day. Call the Home Service Club now for free information.
800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. That's 800-399-3701.
The news and talk that affects St. Louis.
Can the former president have standing to say that the investigators don't even get to look at the documents?
She has been on the throne for 70 years.
Oh, I think we're in a recession.
This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
A little bit off the air about bugs and pests, and Katie's not doing it.
I talk about the heebie-jeebies. This is why people like you, Derek, are awesome. And like, you must have a mind and a heart of steel, because I can't even think about pests in the home. And you brought up fleas. Ha!
You know what bugs me? You know what one gets on? Not no pun intended. Bed bugs.
Oh,
whenever I think of I've never seen or had to deal with a bed bug situation, but just that idea.
Well, that's what
really like
freaks me
messes
out
with my brain.
Now, before we go to any hotel and stuff like that, I always go there. I check, make sure there's no bed bugs.
Yeah.
Not something you want to take home.
No,
Is that
not a
that
good souvenir.
one of the? I mean, I know you guys can treat bed bugs, but is that generally a big deal, or is that a very rare situation?
No, we've done a decent amount of bed bugs in the past. We did stop for about a year or two. We're looking to get back into them.
Yeah.
But we actually get more than we expected.
Gotcha.
And a lot of times it's kind of seasonality when people are traveling more, they're coming back. A lot of times we had to uptick more in the fall actually as well with bed bugs.
Well, and that's kind of why we wanted to have you in today, because we were talking about that earlier. You know, for a person like me who likes to be outside and, you know, enjoy the back patio or the deck and grill and things like that, when temperatures cool down, you kind of feel like, oh, there's less bugs. The bugs are going away. but that's because they're trying to get warm and they're trying to get in your house. So don't think that it's like, oh, it's fall season, it's getting, cold, so the bugs are going away. The bugs aren't going away. They're trying to get inside. And so perfect time to call All Solutions Pest Control.
Yeah, and that's what we call fall season, spider season, or we call them fall invaders. You got your spiders that want to come inside. You have different types of wasps that are trying to get inside to warm up. You have your stink bugs that are coming inside, just all different types of pests. We talked about fleas. I know Katie hates fleas.
Come on, Derek. Come on.
And they're coming in, they're getting on your pets and coming inside. So fall time, we actually get a lot of calls for those fall invaders.
Yeah.
And especially a lot of times spiders, people are seeing them. So we actually switch up our products in the fall time as well to gear more towards those fall invaders so they don't come inside as much.
And right now, couldn't be a better time. So I've as I've said to you guys before, we've had pest control services at our various homes, Christine and I, for years. And it's not because we've had pest problems. We have had the occasional, incident, but it's for prevention. We don't want to have bugs in the house. That's why we have All Solutions Pest Control, not because we are treating something, it's because we are preventing something. So it being fall and the temperature's about to change and this about to be a thing that is going to be happening is one reason it's a perfect time to call All Solutions, but also this incredible introductory offer that we just rolled out this week. But for people that haven't heard about it, tell them about what they can take advantage of right now.
Yeah, so right now we're doing an introductory offer for just $67 for that initial service. And for our initial service, we do the full interior and exterior. So we come inside, we look for where the pests are, look for the cracks and crevices, we get underneath your sinks where the wall voids come together underneath the piping. We have some dust that we put up in there that actually will help with spiders. We'll treat your basements, a lot of your garages really well, get the inside really well. Our goal is kind of flush those pests out. And then also we'll treat the full exterior of your house.
Incredible. And for people that both types of people, somebody who's never had a pest control service at your house, this is a great way to, for a very cheap price, see what it's all about. Have you guys come out and see for yourself. Do I like it? Did it work? Is it helping? And it's really, you're not losing anything. So it's a perfect, and for people that have had services and think to themselves, oh, I've tried different companies before and whatever, and it didn't really help that much. Well, this is a perfect way for a very cheap price to see if All Solutions does it better. And I can tell you from personal experience that you guys do.
Well, thank you. We've actually, like I said, our normal initial price is sometimes up to $199 to $220 plus.
Incredible.
So we're able to get this down, make it a little easier for somebody to come in and join in on the program. But we've actually had a lot of customers in the past. They were with us and they were happy, but then they got somebody that convinced them to go to another company and things like that. And a lot of them end up coming back. One of my favorites, I had a customer and he called in. He said, no, it's somebody he knew was with another company, so he's going to go with another direction. And about a month and a half later, I got an email from him. He said, I come back to you like a dog with a tail between my legs. Will you please take me back? I want to come back and be your customer. So it always feels good when you get that customer that comes back and they're like, hey, look, we know people always say pest control is the same, but really we feel like you guys treated us better. You did a better service and we want to come back.
And the results speak for themselves. And I can tell you that personally, because the timing couldn't have worked out better for us at my house because, we had just moved into our new house in St. Charles County and, had needed to set up another pest control service because we're big believers in it. And so that's almost at that exact same time as when I met you. And so the timing worked out perfect to have you guys come out and, and service our new house. And we've seen firsthand, like, could we have had this the whole time? Could we have had these type of results the entire time? So I've seen it with my own eyes, how it's a step above other pest control services. If you go to All Solutions, almost out of time, Derek, but if people do want to learn more, take advantage of the $67 introductory offer, which is absolutely incredible. Website, social media, all that good stuff, so they can learn more and get a hold of you guys at All Solutions Pest Control.
Yeah, to learn more about it, you can give us a call. Our phone number is 636-486-7888. And check us out online. It's allsolutionspestcontrol.com. Again, that's allsolutionspestcontrol.com. And we'd love to help you guys out. Like, so our goal is we want to actually help you guys and get rid of those pests for you.
Take advantage of this $67 introductory offer. Just it's so cheap. and then you'll get to see the service and see how it's working and make a decision if this is something you want to continue with. And I'm going to tell you right now that you will, because you'll see the results firsthand. But no skin off your teeth if you don't, because of this great introductory offer. And I guarantee you'll want to be making those calls when you see those spiders start poking out of the corners and from behind, appliances as they try to get in for the winter. Derek, thank you so much for coming in today and everything that you do supporting us here at News Talk STL. AllSolutionsPestControl.com. Check them out. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
All right. We will be back with State Representative Nick Schroer. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Selling your home is probably one of the most important decisions you'll make in your entire life. So if you're going to do that, be sure you go with the #1 realty team in St. Louis. That happens to be Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway. Their phone number, 314-810-SOLD. They will guarantee to get you an offer, and they sell 15 times more homes than your typical real estate company in St. Louis, and they will get the job done. Am I right, Mike Ferguson?
Yeah, Vic, that's right. I mean, my wife, Rachel, and I, when we decided we're going to buy some property and we're going to get that, Airbnb investment, also that home that we can go to just to get out of town for a little bit, we only thought about Rodney and Jen Wallner. We gave them a call. I called the same number we ask everybody else to call, 314-810-SOLD. And I've got to tell you, personal experience, their advice, so empowering, so comforting. We know that we're moving the right direction. 314-810-SOLD.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. The government says retail sales rose unexpectedly in August after being down in July. Jennifer King reports.
The report from the Commerce Department shows that even as prices at grocery stores, restaurants, and clothing stores rise, people are still spending. Retail sales rose 0.3% last month, boosted by higher prices for food, but with inflation taking a bite out of budgets, there was also some weakening in discretionary spending, including furniture stores. E-commerce sales fell 0.7% in August, following the July boost from Amazon's Prime Day. Americans have been shifting away from consumer goods and spending more on rent and services not covered in the report, like travel, movie tickets, and doctor visits. Analyst Ted Rossman with Bankrate.com says it's not clear retailers can realistically hope for much more right now. Jennifer King, Washington.
Also at townhall.com, former President Trump says he doesn't believe he'll be indicted by the Justice Department over records seized at his Mar-a-Lago estate.
Well, there is no reason that they can, other than if they're just sick and deranged, which is always possible, because I did absolutely, you've seen the legal papers, absolutely nothing wrong.
The former president told the Salem Radio Network the White House has politicized the Justice Department and predicts that will sour many voters in the Democrat Party. Boil water notice lifted in Mississippi's capital city after nearly 7 weeks, Governor Tate Reeves and Jackson officials have announced. However, emergency repairs still underway after problems at Jackson's main water treatment plant caused many customers to lose service for several days in late August and early September. It's been a volatile day on Wall Street and stocks finishing lower. The Dow is off 173 points, the NASDAQ down 167. More at townhall.com.
Relief Factor pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
How long does it take to tackle a home project? With Angie, you could cross it off your list before this ad is over. Just tell us what you need, indoor or outdoor, repair or redesign, and we handle the rest, sending a top pro to get it done. You don't have to lift a finger, except to tap the screen or click the mouse. Plus, Angie is free to use. So bring us your next home project, and we'll bring it home. Download the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com to get started.
Pakistani health officials warning of a looming health crisis in that country after devastating recent floods.
In Sindh province, thousands of cases of dengue fever have been reported in local facilities, and at least 9 deaths have been confirmed. Doctors in a major hospital there told the BBC that they are treating 50 to 60 dengue patients daily. The disease can be life-threatening. Millions of people have been displaced by the floods in at least 3 provinces. Many are living near stagnant water, at risk of malaria, cholera, and typhoid.
BBC correspondent Pumza Falani. Swiss police investigating a fake advertising campaign that appeared on social media. It shows a poster urging people to snitch on their neighbors if they heat their homes too much this winter, when an energy crunch is expected to hit Western Europe. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. As the race for airlines to cut emissions intensifies, Air Canada taking the next step.
Air Canada has ordered 30 ES-30 electric aircraft from Heart Aerospace. The 30-seater plane can fly up to 124 miles in an all-electric mode or up to 500 miles with capacity limitations. Scheduled to enter service in 2028, the plane will seat 30 passengers. The range can extend to 249 miles when the battery is supplemented by generators, and 497 miles when the capacity is limited to 25 people. Air Canada calls it a step forward to a goal of net zero emissions by 2050. I'm Bill Alexander reporting.
Firefighters have prevented flames from entering a Northern California mountain town and reported major progress against a week-old blaze that's become the largest in the state so far. Conditions at the Mosquito Fire looking much better. More on these stories at townhall.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton with your first alert forecast. It's getting a little hotter each day we go, and it definitely will be hotter for the weekend. Tonight, a low down to 63. Not as cool as earlier in the week, but still a mild start. 88 for the afternoon high, not too humid, partly to mostly sunny. Really a nice day. Saturday, a high of 90, partly cloudy and dry. Sunday, partly to mostly sunny with a high of 92 as the temperatures keep climbing. More 90s on into early next week. That's the latest first alert forecast. I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Tony Colombo here for our family dentist, Dr. Matt Boscia at New Creation Dental Care, a one-stop solution for all your family's dental needs. So much so, it's very rare for them to refer you for a procedure, including braces for you and your kids. Dr. Boscia uses the My Forever Smile braces system, which straightens teeth many times in less than a year with minimal discomfort for half the price of traditional braces. Traditional braces or Invisalign can cost $6,000 or more, but Dr. Boscia only charges $29.98 for My Forever Smile. Incentives can lower the price to $26.98, and if you have insurance, it's even less. Plus, New Creation offers in-office financing to make it extra affordable if you need it. So why go through years of discomfort with traditional braces when you can get a perfect smile in half the time for half the cost with Dr. Boscia and the My Forever Smile braces system? Learn more about My Forever Smile and everything else the great staff at New Creation can do for you and your family at newcreationdentalcare.com. That's newcreationdentalcare.com. Yeah. Like to watch the live streams because they like to see the behind the scenes stuff.
Oh yeah,
even during the break.
That's like
And
especially during the
if
break.
you were just watching on the Colombo and Katie YouTube channel or on the News Talk STL Facebook or Rumble channels where we live stream video the show every day, you will know that I was not in the studio even when the music was playing.
You know what, Tony? I work with Tim Jones, so
yeah, there you go.
All that.
Yeah. Speaking of behind the scenes,
Love you, Tim.
It's at least 4 times a week that I'm in my office in the afternoon after our show, and I hear the studio door swing open and Katie go, "We're on the air!" And here
we
comes
have fun
Tim.
here.
Sometimes Chris, but usually Tim. Rushing back to the studio.
We have
Hey,
fun.
man, we got a lot going on.
We do.
Lot going on here at News Talk STL. A lot going on in this crazy world. And somebody who is out there dealing with these problems on the front line, defending your rights and freedoms, is our next guest. Of course, the great newsmaker, Nick Schroer, state representative, is on the phone. A soon-to-be state senator. Is that bad luck, Nick? Should I not say that out loud? Is that like jinxing it if I say that?
Well, I think if I acknowledge that, if I just say, hey, not yet, we've got another race, then I'm fine.
I'll throw some salt
November,
over my shoulder for you, Nick.
Thank you very much. I'm very superstitious, but
yes,
I'm going to keep grinding and keep working my butt off to represent the people. Come November, hopefully they will choose me to replace Senator Bob Onder here in St. Charles County.
Yeah. Like when somebody during the presidential elections, there's always like when the campaigns are going on and you go to a rally, they always introduce the person as the next president of the United States. Right. So that's all I'm doing. It's just that same thing. And
and I'm very humble when it comes to all of that stuff, and I'm still just I don't know, in shock and awe that the little guy from Ferguson, Missouri, the only guy to go to college in my family, was not only picked to run and win a state representative several times. And the Democrats came after me and they tried to smear my name, not once, twice, 3 different times. We beat them. But now the people have elected me to take the role as the Republican going into this election in November. And I think this is going to be one of the most important campaigns of my lifetime, if not the most important campaign of our lifetime, until 2024 comes and we're trying to pick who can replace the geriatric in the White House.
Ooh, no kidding. So not only are you obviously running for that Senate seat, you're currently also serving in your role as a state representative. And as we talked about yesterday a little bit with Rodney Boyd, when we talked to Rodney Boyd on the air yesterday, he had just left Jefferson City. He was in the car pulling out of the Capitol. He had been there to participate a little bit in this special session that's going on. So that's one of the reasons that I wanted to have Representative Schroer on today to shed some light on and talk a little bit about what is happening right now in the Capitol. We usually think of the legislative session, being at the beginning of the year and for the first, several months of the year, and then it kind of gets quiet. But right now, you guys are back in the Capitol. So what is being addressed in this this current special session?
Well, typically with these special sessions, the governor's going to give us his instructions, and that's what the Constitution allows for the governor to bring us back in. We can bring ourselves back in, but the governor can do it as well, and we have to match his call. So what he's wanting us to address is these tax credits, these agriculture tax credits, these farming tax credits that are expiring because of a sunset clause. So he's wanting us to pass a bill to either implement them fully without future sunsets or put some sunsets on them 5, 10, 15 years down the line. But also the governor is saying, look, dealing with all of this Biden inflation that we have, the rising costs. I know this horrible Inflation Reduction Act, which doesn't even do that, which the Democrats in Congress were celebrating the other day in their let them eat cake moment as the stock market was crashing. I know the governor's wanting to reduce some of the tax burden on Missourians. So we were supposed to go in, I think it was last week. There was some debate behind the scenes. The debate's still going on behind the scenes to figure out how we're going to cut these taxes, how much we're going to cut the taxes. I think the focus right now is going to be on cutting the income tax. And here in this session, the regular session, I passed an amendment which would have fully phased out the income tax. So the House has kind of already done our work. We just have to go back and figure out what the Senate's appetite is before I get in there. Because I know if I was in the Senate right now, it would be, let's get rid of these taxes altogether.
So definitely want to check in with you then over the coming days and weeks as all this plays out to keep everyone informed on what is happening and what could be heading your way in the state of Missouri. Also wanted to have you on today to talk a little bit about if you follow Nick on social media, particularly on Twitter. I'd say like Twitter is the is like the R movie. Facebook is like the PG movie.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You're still gonna get a pretty entertaining debate. In
Twitter's
the
just a little bit more
comment
rough.
section. Yes, Twitter's just a little more NC-17 sometimes. No, not that bad, but a little bit more rough. So you ruffling folks' feathers is no surprise. Of course, stand and fight is Nick Schroer's mantra, and also the name, of course, of his radio show / podcast, which you can hear every Sunday night here on News Talk STL. But it's truly what you do, stand and fight. So it doesn't surprise me or anyone else that knows you when you get into when you fight back against some of the accusations and plans by some of the more extreme progressive left-wing folks in our community. But something really interesting, maybe even an extra level happened to you here recently. Tell us a little bit about the latest dust up that you have found yourself in.
Uh-oh.
Oh, do we lose him?
Uh-oh.
This is the best part. People are
There it
mad.
is.
There he is.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, there we
Let's
go.
say people are mad at him because he likes Jesus, and now we're gonna lose him. No, here we go. All right, go ahead, Nick. Tell us about what's going on.
Well, yeah, like I said before, the Democrats have come after me time and time again after we passed the biggest, strongest pro-life bill in the nation, which led to Missouri being the first state to actually outlaw elective abortions. The Democrats came after me, tried to kick me off the ballot. We beat them in court, not once, twice, but 3 times, and they came after me again. Now, out of D.C., we've got the Freedom from Religion Foundation. And I said that right. Freedom from religion.
Yeah, not freedom of.
And they've sent me a cease and desist because on my personal page, it's been a campaign page. It's something that is not ran by the state. It's not paid for by the state. This is a page of my own that,
Yes.
whether I'm campaigning or not, that's promoting things that I do. So on this page, one of the stand and fight, I think it was one of the first shows when we jumped onto News Talk STL every Sunday night at 8 p.m. I just took a picture and quoted Ephesians 6:10-17. Didn't say, look, I'm promoting this. I'm going to pass a law that's going to require an establishment of religion, which would be unconstitutional. But this Freedom from Religion Foundation sent a cease and desist, basically saying that I'm not permitted to speak my mind, to educate people on how I feel on certain things. And they also threw in there that they were threatened by a picture which had the infamous Lucille barbed wire bat and a hat that said "Make Missouri Great Again" on the table. So this is something that I think we have to stand and fight. These Marxists, these far left liberals are trying to bully us into submission. And when we have people that are speaking up, being more liberal with the use of their I think that's when we are going to take back this nation that our founders intended. So we're going to have a massive reply. We're going to have a counterpunch of sorts this Sunday. We're going to kind of read that for the folks on Stand and Fight. So it's a little bit of a teaser to get everybody to either tune in on Sunday, or if you can't, go to the live streams, go figure out whether it's Facebook or Apple if you missed it, Spotify, you can stream us Stand and Fight. I think it's all ran by the News Talk STL webpage.
Absolutely. And I highly encourage you to tune in to hear all the details of this. But before we let you go, I'm a little confused. Is it what do they want you to cease and desist doing?
Yeah, what is it?
Is it posting a passage? Is it because is it cease and desist quoting the Bible? What is it? What's the cease and desist? Yeah, go ahead.
Directly from their letter, they say, we write to request that you cease using your elected position as a representative to promote your personal religious beliefs. I guess they've never read any of our founding documents where many of our founders, if not all of them, were guided by Christian principles. Then they go on to say government employees can worship, pray, or quote any religious text that they wish when acting in their personal capacities, but they are not permitted to provide prestige to their personal religion through the machinery of a government office. So, this is the ass hattery, so to speak, that the Democrats are using to attack us. And I think that we're seeing right now we are in a spiritual battle. And I don't care if you're a Baptist, Christian, Muslim. You do you, so to speak. Don't tread on me. Your rights end where mine begin. I don't care. So them coming after me, trying to bully me into submission, they're going to see exactly what the fighter in the Missouri House, soon to be in the Missouri Senate, if all goes well. We are going to send them a counterpunch, which is constitutionally protected and constitutionally allowed. So this is going to be a fun show this Sunday.
Yeah. Freedom of religion, I'm all for. Freedom from religion,
Correct.
now I've got my eyebrow raised. So we'll definitely be listening this and every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Stand and Fight right here on News Talk STL. And of course, Nick will be on with us, and he's on with Vic every week to keep us up to speed on what's happening with this special legislative session in Jefferson City. In the meantime, Nick, one more time, if people want to also follow you on your website and social media channels, what are all those addresses?
Yes.
We lost you again. We lost you again. Can you hear me?
Oh, they lost.
Oh, here
I can hear
yeah,
you.
you're back now, but we lost you again right when you started to give the channel. So one more time,
One more
social
time,
media
it's
channels.
NickStrower.com will link you up to Facebook, Twitter, Stand and Fight, everything that you need to figure out. But yeah, like you said, the Facebook page is like the Trolls, like the movie, the song that you just played. That's like the G-rated Trolls.
Yes.
Twitter is like Gremlins, and it is it's very entertaining. So NickStrower.com will link you up to all of that.
I think the folks from the Freedom from Religion group have gotten a hold of the signal a little bit there, because
I think so
the
too.
timing of the two times it dropped out right at
Sketchy.
an important part of the conversation was a little suspect. Anyway,
Well, I like to blame China. China is to blame.
State Representative Nick Schroer, candidate for State Senate as well, on the ballot in November out in St. Charles County. Always appreciate everything you do for us here at News Talk STL, all the great information you provide with us on a weekly basis. And we'll talk to you very soon, my friend. Thanks.
Thank you all. Have a blessed day.
You bet. That is newsmaker Nick Schroer, state representative. Good stuff. Definitely very interested in keeping a further eye on this special session. Anytime we're talking about cutting taxes in the state of Missouri, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
You got a story for us before we turn things over to Tim and Chris?
I do. It's
Let's
more
hear it.
about schools.
Let's hear it.
Several Connecticut parents spoke out against a worksheet provided by an English teacher in Southington High School on the first day of school that addressed political, gender, and racial issues. Vocabulary items that appeared on the worksheet for this English teacher included the terms white privilege, indigenous peoples, transgenderism, institutional racism, gender pronouns, the term Latinx, as well as other controversial issues. The worksheet appears to show how those terms can be used in writing and includes definitions and proper ways to include a lot of those terms in their writing. Under the category called concepts we can always keep in mind when conversing, one was touched on systemic racism. I can do this. I can say that word, right? Systemic. Racism is a systemic issue, it reads. If you look the other way, this is crazy. This is what also goes with this on the worksheet. If you look the other way or deny that these systems exist, you are part of the problem. You can know in your heart that you don't hate anyone, but still contribute to their oppression. Parents like Southington resident Jenny called the lesson divisive at a recent school board meeting. To be honest, I'm not even angry, one of the parents said. I'm sure that the teacher who put this together did not mean to be hurtful, but this is extremely divisive. Another parent said this. I'm paying taxes so my kids can learn how to read, write, and communicate properly. I'm not paying taxes for them to learn stuff in this document, which I totally agree. One more parent said this. It's troubling to me. I read the worksheet. Do I agree with it? Absolutely not. To hear about white privilege, that thing again, I'm tired of it. For this to be the talk, for this to be what our kids are learning out of all the crap that's going on, and for this to be what they're educating our kids about, it's frustrating as hell.
Anytime, as long as we continue to teach children and focus on things like this kid is different than this kid because of this, and the rules are different, and this kid should probably give a little bit more or not get the same attention as this kid because of only the color of their skin. As long as we continue to focus on that, we're never going to have true equality. It is completely ridiculous to say that you are putting these programs in place because you're fighting for equality, when that's the antithesis of equality.
I also think
setting people aside, making different rules because of the color of somebody's skin.
I also think that this idea, like, if you look the other way or deny that these systems exist, you're part of the problem. Writing that on the worksheet so that every single kid in high school, kids in high school are trying to figure it out. They're highly influenced by their peers and by their teacher and by the people that they're surrounded by for 8 hours a day. To write something like that and say it's undeniable, like, you're going to be part of the problem if you don't bow down, if you don't believe what I put down on this worksheet as your teacher, that sets up that is not a trustworthy environment.
Absolutely. And as we've said, in fact, there's a great Colombo and Katie show promo that is airing right now that I heard, where you make the point from a previous show about the difference between like history and today. And the kids that are in elementary school today. I have a story here about that we obviously don't have time to do today, but like people attacking the Queen for being a racist and a colonizer and bringing up things from
a colonizer
decades ago. And, like saying like, the United Kingdom was built on the backs of black and brown people and all this stuff. The history of many places across the world is very ugly. And there was a lot of unjust that was done. And it's important that we learn about that. We don't sweep it under the rug. We learn from that. We recognize our history, but that's not the thing to focus on. The thing to focus on is what we've done to combat that, what we've done to end those practices, to get away from the unjust policies,
to go to equality
and systems that we've had. That's the mark of a great country. And to just ignore all of that and to focus on what happened in the past, when these elementary school kids, they don't have anything to do with that. Let's build on the great strides that we've already taken towards equality and eliminating racism and everything else. Let's continue down that road and focus on how we've combated and how much we've changed to correct those wrongs, instead of focusing on the wrongs and saying, well, now it's time to turn the tables and it has to go the other way, because that's not equality and that's not justice.
That's not.
So
it's the complete opposite.
Absolutely. All right, that is going to do it for Colombo and Katie today. Colombo and Katie back tomorrow at 2:00. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Colombo and Katie on YouTube, and our podcast on your favorite podcast platform, so you never miss anything that happens here on the show. And don't go anywhere, because the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show is coming in now to take you through the rest of your Thursday afternoon. Thank you so much for listening to us and supporting us here at 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Under the lights when everything goes nowhere to hide.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Colombo and Katie, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL.
Fox News commentary.
The man who beheaded his ex-girlfriend in broad daylight is, wait for it, an illegal immigrant. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Attention investors, the RV industry has exploded in the last several years. RV sales are up double digits and RV park bookings are up over 650%. Now you can own part of an RV Resort USA property with projected 15 to 20% ROI paid quarterly, plus ownership in the land. A real estate investor's dream. To learn more, visit RVResortUSA.com. That's RVResortUSA.com. Or call 833-452-2267, 833-452-2267. Individual results may vary. Past performance is no guarantee of future results.
Rafael Solano Landera was arrested and charged late last week with beheading his ex-girlfriend outside her apartment building in San Carlos, California. She leaves behind 2 young daughters. And if that wasn't heinous enough, we now know thanks to immigration sources that Jose is an illegal immigrant. He entered the country from Venezuela on a tourist visa 10 years ago and never left. How could this be? Well, don't forget California is a sanctuary state that prevents local law enforcement from working with ICE to get these criminal aliens off the street. But it gets worse. According to the San Francisco Chronicle, not only did he allegedly behead his ex, not only is he an illegal, he's also a criminal alien with a rap sheet that includes rape, a charge he served only 3 months probation for. He remains in jail